Women on Wine TV. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is a weekly online show celebrating wine and living your best possible life. We highlight and sip luscious wines while discussing lifestyle, travel, nibbles, and wine, of course. Our mission is to inspire you to design affordable, lavish experiences in business and in your life. The show is filmed from our Washington and California wine country studios on location across the globe and peppered with fabulous tastemakers from all walks of life to spice up the conversation. Joining me today is my partner in wine, Debra Trapin. Welcome to the show, Debra.
Bonjour, darling. It's wonderful to see you.
It's fabulous to see you, and bonjour to you as well. And we are beginning with a quote today. With wine in hand, one reaches the happy state where men are wise, women beautiful, and even one's children begin to look promising. That quote is by Unknown.
When I saw this was the quote, I was dying.
I so love that. I mean, we could extend it beyond there. Even children you don't know begin to look promising, right?
Awesome.
It's just too funny. Okay, so we have a wonderful show planned for you today. The topic is how to add sizzle to outdoor entertaining. The word for the show is party, and you know what that means. Anytime we say the word party, now we're into two, you take a sip of whatever's in your glass. And I hope it's something fabulous. So, it's a really time to sizzle for summer with your best outdoor party, and Women on Wine is here to give you the inspiration on how to make that a reality. Our goal is to help you create an event that wows your guests and pleases their every need and addresses their every need, and you are prepared and prepped to be able to relax and enjoy. And that's really the key to entertaining well. This plan is going to make you outshine your past soirees and inspire your guests to step up their own game. So we'd like to begin with what's in your glass. So Miss Debra, what is in your glass today?
Well, I stepped mine up and went along with the sizzle concept. And what I have in my glass is actually a cocktail, a wine cocktail. I don't know if you can see all the goodies that are in here. This is
delicious.
This is an herbed watermelon fizz. And I know I cannot wait for you to have this. I got to take a sip. It's so delicious. Okay, so the wine that's in there that I will share is called Treveri. It is a sparkling rosé, which is perfect for the hot summer nights. It's their TreveriCellars.com and at Treveri Cellars on Twitter. It is such a pretty color. It is what gives this kind of watermelon shade. And then, of course, inside is a little bit of muddled watermelon with basil, which you can see here on the top.
Love it.
And it is just like, oh my gosh, you are going to love this. I can't wait to serve this to you. But yes, herbed watermelon fizz. What's in your glass?
Oh, what's in my glass? I'm so excited because I'm back on Chardonnay, at least for an episode. And it's summer, and this is not the most oaky Chardonnay, so I should be able to get by pretty well. But I'm delighted to share with you this bottle of Chloe Chardonnay. And I'll tell you what struck me first when I saw the wine on the shelf was that it was so elegant and so beautiful. And the only thing that was missing was a wrapper of a Tiffany box. I mean, it's that pretty. It's a 2012 Sonoma County Chardonnay. And these guys, no Twitter account, but they have an Instagram at Chloe Wine CO. And it's got a really bright scent of citrus and this creamy vanilla finish. And so teeny bit of oak in there, but it's exquisitely smooth. It's just delightful. And I would pair this with seared scallops prepared a la Gordon Ramsay, perfectly seared, and tarragon seasoned potatoes with fresh tarragon. But are you seeing anything kind of different over here? Like about my glass?
Lord. What is that? What do you have going on over there?
This looks like Christian Louboutin heels,
It
but
does.
it's not. It's not. This is so cool. So, this brilliant woman I ran into in the social sphere, she actually is an entrepreneur, and she started this product called The Pointer, which, no mistake about the point, right? But this is, she ran into a tremendous amount of frustration. Her and her friends are all, going out and picnicking and having lovely times in the park. And everybody's, after a half glass of wine, you're starting to knock over your glasses, or the wind's blowing them out of your hands, off the tables and everything else. And she really got tired of the waste of wine. So she's like, I'm going to fix it. I'm going to come up with something where you can literally stick your wine into the ground and it will be sturdy. Nothing, it's not going to tip over anymore. And so her name is Ramona Anash. She is based in the Netherlands, and so she found a problem and she solved it on her own. And I absolutely love that. They're on Kickstarter. You can go to kickstarter.com/projects/pointer/pointer. We'll have that, of course, on the blog. So you can link in there and support it, get a couple of your own. They're really modestly priced. And she's about halfway to goal. So we need to push her up a little bit further so she can reach goal and get these things mainstream to everybody. You can also find these on tothepointer.com, and you can connect with Ramona, who is a beautiful woman inside and out, at RAM as in Mary _EN as in Nancy ACHE. We'll have that in the stream as well. So yeah, so that's a lot of information, but hands up to her, high five, and great job. Love women who come up with their own inventions that are practical and frivolous all at the same time.
I love it. That deserves a party. What do you think?
I think that deserves a party. Woohoo! Cheers to you guys.
I love it. So today we're talking about adding sizzle into our outdoor parties, entertaining, soirees, whatever fabulous word we want to give it. I love that. I know that you and I both love to dine on the deck, to, just sit and relax on the patios. And I recall us having a conversation about this killer, cannot fail recipe that you have. So I think we could kind of start with, what would we serve? And why don't you tell us about that?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, this is, I think, one of the biggest challenges that we all have is we buy beautiful pieces of meat, and how do we prepare them perfectly? So what I'm going to give you is my favorite barbecue meat recipe, and I'm going to do it as quickly as possible. So it's a little bit long, but here we go. Okay, so please have a piece of meat that is about 1.5 inches thick. This can be a porterhouse. It can be a filet mignon. It can be something fabulous that you love, New York steak, T-bone, whatever, but about 1.5 inches thick. And what you want to do is take it out of the fridge an hour minimum. I like to do 2 hours because you want to bring that temperature down to room temperature. And then you want to prepare a dry seasoning blend. You just really use equal parts of salt. Well, not equal parts. I like to use double the salt and a little less pepper, sprinkle of cayenne pepper, and a lighter sprinkle of Chinese 5-spice, and then use some kitchen twine to tie a little bundle of herbs together, like thyme or sage or rosemary, and use that to brush on that seasoning onto your steak. You want to heat the grill so it's on high. Put your hand over the top of it, 4 to 6 seconds. If it feels hot, then you are good to go. Season the steak, put the blend over generously, even the edges, because everybody wants to get a bite of goodness and awesomeness. And then if you dampen your hand with a little bit of water, you'll adhere that seasoning to it. So you kind of create a paste. And then please put the herb brush into a little bit of butter, because butter is really what makes that kind of charred goodness and color. So you'll get a very light char, but you'll also get a little mark. You want it well marked. So great idea there. And then about 3 minutes. So don't move the stick or steak, don't move the stick for 3 minutes. Okay, let it sit there and let it make some stuff happen. And then after 3 minutes, flip it, baste it again with butter. Close the lid this time until it's well marked again, and continue flipping and basting with butter until it's to your desired doneness. And you can use the touch test. We all know that the softer it is, the less cooked it is, the more firm it is, the more done it is, or you can use a thermometer. And then adding, I think this is the magic part of this, that and the Chinese 5-spice. To make a finishing dressing, drizzle olive oil over the top with a little lemon zest and a little salt and pepper, and let it sit. This is so important. 5 minutes. Your meat always needs to rest for 5 minutes before you cut and serve. So please don't slice before it's ready. And you could add a little bit more of the herbs that were on the herb brush that you basted it with earlier. And that's pretty much it. That is one of the best steaks I've ever had, and I hope that you make it and enjoy it as well.
Wow, 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 wow. Yummy. That sounds like a party in my mouth.
Oh, it definitely is. It's like that party that you have in your glass.
It is, yes. So, as you know, my hubby loves to make steaks. And this time of year in particular in the summer, we like to try and do everything on the grill, right? Like nothing at all inside the house whatsoever. So one of our favorite kind of, I guess you could call it a side dish, but it's more of like a side experience, is something called elote. So elote is Mexican corn. And it's a full corn. It's so delicious. We will add this to the menu for when you visit. It's a full ear of corn, and you leave the husks on. You take all the little funky little hair off, but you leave all the husks on, and you tie them at the end. So it kind of becomes like a handle, and you just grill it. Just visually, you'll see it just get a little brown on the outside. So you just grill the corn. That's not where the magic is. The magic is in the delicious dressing that goes on this corn. So it's a combination of lime juice, a little bit of mayonnaise. If you're not into dairy, you can totally use like a veganaise, any kind of like creamy, and then cayenne pepper. You take that, you mix it up really well, and you put it on the outside of the corn, and then you spread or sprinkle cotija cheese. You've probably seen cotija cheese in the store before and like, what am I going to do with that? It's super crumbly, but just pour a little bit of that over it and then give each guest a little wedge of lime. It is the most amazing corn you have ever had. It is so delicious. Like my mouth is watering thinking about it, but we'll definitely have that recipe both on our pin board and in the blog post for sure.
Absolutely. Party. Delicious stuff. Woohoo. I love it. Okay, so we have like several different kind of party tips sections. Where do you want to start?
Well, how about we start with music?
I love music.
Music kind of sets the stage, don't you think?
It totally does. I mean, it can kind of it can help you get into the mood, because I know when we put on parties, what happens? Like we get stressed out, right? And you really don't want that vibe happening when people arrive. So setting the tone early and then being able to kick it up when you need to is perfect. What kind of music do you put on, Debra?
So I've kind of given this little piece of me to our audience in the past. I cannot function when there is music with words on in the background. I'm either listening to the words or singing along with the words. So in order to combat this, shall we say, quirk, I always love to put on something like Al Di Meola, like just really kind of sexy, Latin guitars. And I love that. So something that's got a little spice and a little sass to it, but there are no words to distract me. It just makes me want to shake my thing. How about you?
I'm a Pandora girl. Like Pandora I've stopped buying CDs because I don't need to anymore. So I use Pandora. I have a couple of favorite channels for setting evening, late afternoon, early evening moods, and I like to use their hipster cocktail channel, which is one that they've already got pre-programs. If you type in hipster cocktail, you get kind of a hip vibe. It's a little bit laid back, a little bit, I don't want to say it's older music, but it's certainly fabulous music, and it's not Metallica. So that helps me. And I also, there's another channel, and this one would appeal to you. Very few words. It's called Hotel Costes, Costes. It's definitely an instrumental, but it's more of like one of those, it's like a club music, you know, it's not banging in your face, but it's a little bit more ambient kind of club. So it's kind of cool. And then my last one is an artist. And this is the thing with Pandora. You can choose channels that they have pre-programmed. You can choose, you know, themes. You can choose artists or even a song name, and it'll build a channel around those tastes. So Kat Edmondson, absolutely love her. She's very much a chanteuse. She's got an amazing voice, one of the most unique in the industry. And her station is what helps me get my groove on.
Awesome. Oh, I can't wait. I'm going to add that before I get on the plane this week.
Ooh, please do. Let me know how you like it.
I will. I will. So we've got music. What's the next thing you usually like tackle?
You know, the theme is a big one for me because I think that once you have a theme, then the way you're going to put in the pieces of the party kind of starts to gel a little bit quicker. If you try to put a party on without a central theme or an event that's a focus, then it's harder to pull all the pieces in and really give it that pizzazz. So I love to start with themes, and I'm a color party girl. So I like to have white parties. I like to have black parties. I like to have red parties.
Okay,
and
there's a lot of parties. Watch out with all those parties.
Woo! But it's all based on what people wear. And from that, I mean, I really want the guests to feel like they're central to what's happening. And when you have everybody in the same color, it's amazing. Like the photographs that come out of it, the way that you can enhance the areas around. So I did a white party, and I bought big tapestries of really brightly colored, like pinks and yellows and oranges, and draped those around the house. And it really felt like we were on location someplace and not at my house, which I loved. So that's one way to theme a party, is through color. How do you like to theme parties?
So I love the color is a great idea. I kind of like to go for, I like to think about what I'm going to fix and then kind of work my party around that. Because for me, depending on what kind of party it is and how many people I'm inviting, it really does determine the menu. So I'll give you an example. So I love to cook Mexican food. I love to cook Mexican food. And shout out to my girlfriend, Janine, who like totally killed me from, you know, making refried beans out of a can. Like, I mean, really cooking Mexican food, right? not out of a can. So I like to think, okay, so if I'm having if I'm having Mexican food, that determines everything else for me. And so looking at the food first. So if we talk about like the steak and the corn on the cob, to me, like my mind immediately goes to like, let's have kind of like a down home kind of party, right? Like wear a bandana or come in your denim or something. And the thing is that even those of us who love fashion, who love to get dressed up, are always uncomfortable about what to wear to a party. We're always thinking, what is everyone else going to wear? So sometimes I'll even add a little extra. Like, you know, we'd throw these big karaoke parties every year. And so instead of just making it a Hawaiian karaoke party, a tiki party is what we call it, we started adding in like 80s. Oh my gosh, everybody shows up in costume when you tell them to dress in the 80s, whether it's 80s hick or 80s rocker, or it just gives them this comfortable place to go, I'm going to fit in. I'm not going to feel awkward because I know what to wear. I love it.
I've still got all the clothes.
I've still got all the clothes. They're all back now.
Oh my goodness, that is so funny and so fun.
It is
so
fun.
You're giving them something, and that's, you know, there's a common thread between the two themes that we like, is it's giving people a kind of a common element. It's taking away the question of what to wear you're building kind of an ambiance around that, right?
For sure. Well, and I know that you love to do certain things outside when you're decorating outside. And so I'd love to hear about that, because that also kind of determines how you're going to ask people to dress. Like if you're going to ask people to dress in all white, you're not having them sit on the ground, right?
No, not at all. I think one of the cool things is when you open up your house to a party, and in particular in the summertime, you just have so many more options, and probably a few more that I may have here in drought-stricken California than you have in a little bit more humid weather in Seattle. But you want to open up your inside. And a lot of times furniture doesn't help you do that. So I'm suggesting that you move some of your furniture outside, put a big rug outside. You can use like a Lauhala mat. I don't know if anybody's familiar with those. These Lauhala mats are woven mats, but they're really like made out of bamboo or Lauhala leaves. And the leaves are, just leaves that are dried and woven. And they're really inexpensive. They're great for walking barefoot on because you want your guests super comfortable. But taking some of the furniture outside, bringing some pillows out, bringing some plants out, and just making it kind of an indoor-outdoor, and bring some of your lighting outside. I think a lot of people have the string lights that go, I know I do, big string lights that I got from Pottery Barn with the big bright lights. Those help add ambience, but it's really about bringing the outdoors or the indoors out and leaving a little bit more space indoors and having really comfortable space outdoors.
Oh, I love that. We have very similar entertaining styles. So I know we both have things like the string lights and the tiki torches. But I will say one of the things that I love is adding these fun little elements with candles outside. Like sometimes it might be a big hurricane, lantern, or other times like we ordered these crazy, they were half coconuts, and inside they'd poured it was like a citronella candle inside like a half a coconut. And I swear we had all sorts of decorations around, but the freaking coconut candle is what everyone talked about. They were like, those were so cool. Where did you get those? And so I think that's also a fun thing, is like, how can you add little elements that are kind of surprising, things that people aren't going to expect, whether it's to the table or to another decoration. So, and I know that you love the element of surprise.
Oh,
so what kind of fun things do you add to your decoration?
Well, I think some of the things like surprise, creating that theme, like I mentioned earlier, with putting like tapestries out to really change what the house looks like or that backyard looks like. And, you can get bolts of fabric and do an entire house so it's completely changed. And when people are walking in the doors or out of the doors, they have to, spread these curtains to get through. And you don't have to like put up curtain rods and go through all that expense. Staple these things to the just under the gutters. If you staple them to your gutters, your husbands will go crazy. But
oh my gosh, I was just going to say that. My husband
underneath, like they do the Christmas lights, and you can literally like completely change an environment. And that's one element I've seen that because it's an immersive situation and people are actually touching it and it feels different outside, it just really, really adds to the party. How about you? What's your element of surprise you like to bring to the table?
Well, I think besides like the little tiny coconut candle, which now of course we have a ton of them in reserves, is one of the things I love to do is I like to send my guests home with something. And especially when it's a smaller, more intimate event. And so I go to, well, it's called Fred Meyer here, but whatever your local kind of like Target or wherever you shop for your plants. And I get those little tiny little super colorful planters and just use a real live plant. And then I send them home with them. And so one of the most popular giveaways that I did was when I did the Elote corn, and I put the recipe on a little stake inside the flowers. And so like
if barbecued steak?
No, silly, like a little, like little steak inside. There was a little flag on it with the recipe. And everyone loved it because I knew, right? The first time I had it, I wanted the recipe. So I was like, okay, so I know everyone's going to ask for this. So I'm just going to give each couple a little flour and the most unique recipe of the night so they can take it home with them. And that was a splash. And it's like $2 for the plant, just was like a $5 little giveaway. And it was so popular. And there's actually one of the guests that attended that evening, still to this day, takes a picture of that little plant and sends it to me.
I love it.
It's still growing. It's still growing. It's so cute. Like, it's just a little member.
Now, I know I have a couple of tips I want to share before I close, but you have a very important element, the entertainment/games aspect that you love to do. And I definitely would feel like we deprived our audience if we didn't get through that one.
So I love conversation starters at parties, especially when you're trying to connect new couples. And so there is a game out there, and again, we'll drop the link in. It's called Would You Rather? And they're just little cards. You don't have to bring out the whole board game. It's just a fun little deck of cards that basically says, like, would you rather run down the street naked in your neighborhood, or
that's an icebreaker,
or shave your head? It's just crazy questions like this. Or it's like, would you rather date Bill Clinton, or would you rather marry let's see, who's a crazy person to marry? Would you rather marry
Donald Trump?
Oh my God, that's so funny. That's exactly what I was thinking in my head with the hair. So it's just, and so you don't have to buy the game if you don't want to. You can create these fun little questions, but it's just little icebreakers that I absolutely love to include, for sure.
So what's this setup? I want to hear this setup because, if we give people cards and we just say, hey, look at these cards and go ask somebody a question, they're not likely to do it. So I'm sure you're putting a little bit more into the setup, right?
Oh, you know it. So usually Drew and I kind of have this little, I see you, you see me, it's time for the cards, right? And so we'll just pull it out and just pull out one of the cards and we'll just ask. And then they'll look. And usually this is like when you have 3 or 4 couples. We're not talking a massive party here. We're talking about, everyone's sitting at the same table. And it is so funny. Like the first couple of times people are they're just timid and a little bit tense. But then once it starts rolling, it is hilarious because it's these crazy questions that, come on, who wants to run down the street naked or shave their head? We really don't want to do either, but you have to choose. And that's the fun part about it. It just kind of lets a little bit of your character and personality out. And just like the costumes, sometimes we need these kind of wacky questions to bring us out of that comfort zone.
And into the child zone.
Yes.
It was so good. Stuck routinely into the adult zone, and it's just not as much fun.
Totally. Amen.
Party. Absolutely. The tips I wanted to share before Debra closes the show, just really easy ones. I mean, my thing is I've spent so many parties running around and doing everything for the guests. I just really want you guys to have an easier time. So one of the things that I'm recommending is to, get a bunch of mason jars. And they have those, those stretchy bands, the little plastic bands everybody wears. Like, use a black magic marker, put the names of your guests on and around with those bands, the mason jars, and then that's their glass for the day. So we're eliminating unnecessary trash. Everybody has their name on a glass, and you don't have to chase down glasses or wash more or find any. And then also creating a big, ideally maybe a basket or a bucket that's lined with a trash bag for dishes. So when they're done with their dishes, they can just put them in there. So it's all self-service. You go in one time, pick it up, and walk it back to the kitchen, and you're done. And last but not least, make one fabulous punch. Spike it, of course, like rum, tequila, vodka, whatever. And I have a recipe that I'll include in the blog post for a fabulous punch that's like an Orange Julius, but better. And then freeze, take one of your pitchers that you use for water, a plastic pitcher, fill it with water, and then freeze an ice block and drop that into the punch bowl. It'll last you all day. You'll never have to pull out another tray of ice cubes, and you will have your sanity back. And that's it.
I love it. Those are awesome. I think my last tip is, so if you decide to make the herbed watermelon fizz, you're going to have quite a bit of watermelon left. And one of the things that I often find, especially in the summer, when you're having the ladies over, we don't necessarily want to shove cookies and cake down our throats at the end of the party.
Yes.
We're waist conscious when we're wearing sundresses and such. So I have a fantastic way to use the rest of the watermelon in a super fun, healthy, well, sort of healthy, but it's fruit. So it's grilling the leftover watermelon. So just make little triangles out of your watermelon, grill them on the grill, and then as soon as they come off, put a tiny bit of blue cheese, a little tiny little flag of prosciutto, drizzle a little balsamic on the top, and then, of course, the rest of your basil, just a little sling of basil, and it is an amazing way to just kind of brighten up at the end of the evening what you've had to drink. So
party in the mouth.
Party in the mouth. Absolutely. All right. I think that's a wrap. So thank you everyone for joining us today on Women on Wine TV. This was a super fun episode where we're sharing all of our tips and tricks on how to add that sizzle to your outdoor party. So make sure you join the conversation with us. Add #Women on Wine with your ideas. How do you add sizzle to your entertaining? We would love to know. Of course, as always, please definitely find us on all the major social channels at Women on Wine TV, and share us with your friend. Don't keep us a secret. We love, love, love meeting new people. So jump in the conversation. Again, hashtag us at #Women on Wine, and we look forward to seeing you soon with a delicious, divine glass of wine in your hand. Bisous, my darlings.
Mwah.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Santé, darling. Santé.
Sizzling Sante.
Sizzling santé.